So my name is Amanda Capola. For those of you who don't know me, we're going to be doing knots and braids. Today we're going to be learning 3 looks. We're going to be learning the zigzag, the ribbon, and the French infinity. Shelby's going to be teaching the ribbon and the French infinity, and I'll be doing the zigzag braid. Okay? So last year, how many of you loved the 5-stranded braid? Yeah? Well, we wanted to up our game this year, so we decided to do a 15-strand braid. Are you guys ready? No? Too soon? No? Okay, so thought I'd get a laugh out of that one. So before we get started with the demo, we're going to go through some slides. So again, our zigzag, ribbon, and French infinity. Those are the 3 looks. Actually, it's a collection of looks designed for fun and adventurous women. Do you feel like you've got some adventure kind of coming to you? I think so. The first one, the zigzag braid. Let's take a little look at our video. Steps. This is what we bring or give to our distributors. This is a way for you guys to know the structure of how this class is going to work. So it lists our essential tools, the essential products, the steps, along with a step-by-step of each picture, right? So we're going to get started with the demo. I am going to have Stefan.
He's back there.
That's awesome. All right, that way you don't see the distributor guidelines across my body. All right, so we're gonna get right into the demo. We've already completed 4 of the sections for our zigzag braid. So to start, we used signature volume to prep the style. So we also sectioned blow dried. If you wanted to, a little design tip, to globally crimp. What that's going to do is help with expansion throughout the entire style. Okay? Next, we are going to section off into 5 evenly distributed sections by zigzagging. 5 zigzag parts throughout the entire head. As you can see, I left 1 section on the side to zigzag. A comb, please. Thank you.
Amore, and we can also create it in a braiding, like let's say for the Spanish client.
Absolutely. Be creative. So this is obviously your guidelines for the actual class, but if you have a different way to zigzag your partings, you have the technique in there, make it your own. Absolutely.
The zigzag is in there mostly because it's breaking up our sections, right? So when that hair's pulled back, we're not seeing harsh part lines. It just softens the look. So whatever works better in your territory, the big purpose behind that is to make sure you're breaking up your sectioning.
Amazing. So to start off, let's get her a little smoothed out there. I would love some smoothing lotion, thank you. In order to control the braid, smoothing lotion is one of the best products to use. You could also use hydrating styling cream, mending infusion, one of my absolute favorite products.
That would be amazing if we can have it at least in a half.
I agree. So when we get to this side section, we're going to take even sections for our French braid. It's a French braid, not an inverted French braid. A lot of us tend to go for that inverted French braid, but this is your typical 3-stranded French braid. But we are going to, sorry, thank you. Start that 3-strand.
And notice how the head is tipped. Okay, as we're working with the curvatures and the zigzags. When we're braiding, our hands are everything. Our body positioning is everything. Wherever our hands are, wherever our body is, that's where that braid's going, right? So if we're not standing directly where we need to be, the braid's gonna shift one way or another. So keeping her head, asking her to tilt, just gonna give you that much more leverage.
So going in, doing your typical 3-stranded braid. As we are going around the ear, I want you to think of this as a rising sun. Have any of you seen a rising sun where the rays just kind of go around the horizon like that? You're gonna think of that sectioning pattern going around the ear like that. So you're gonna continue to French braid, taking your sections, working down all the way to the nape, like in my previous sections. What that's gonna do is we're gonna then tie that off. So I'm gonna continue to work down that section.
And also to adapt it, let's say, to finer, let's say we do Norway or places like that they got finer hair.
Yep.
Also, I'm sure that the little crimping and things like that, we can just add it to whatever.
Absolutely. So if you have a finer haired client, that crimp is going to be essential to get that hair big, voluminous, be able to see the actual texture as well as the definition within your braid.
Are you like going loose with your tension, or what is your tension like as you're doing
I'm not
this?
going super tight with my tension. The reason being is we're gonna blouse these out. We want this to be very soft and romantic, yet still adventurous, right? It's a little boho-y. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Your rising sun shape, is that to kind of obviously keep it off the ear?
To keep it off the ear, but it's also to just, it's more aesthetically pleasing to kind of have that roundness around the ear.
It helps to just create that lift with your tension.
Yep. And
Give
then
you less
once,
drag.
yeah, sorry. And then once we finish this look, it's also gonna set the stage for how we pin the ends, right? And how we create more of that look that we see on our screens. Okay, we're almost done here.
So yeah, if you're like me and you braid super tight, like you want to focus on relaxing, especially when it's a normal French braid like this. If you go to blouse it out and it's too tight, you'll end up just pulling little pieces and creating frizz. So definitely try to relax the tension. Yeah.
Also, the layers will play a big part.
Right.
Huge part, yeah. Where you want to make sure your tension or your hand position is a little bit tighter is closer to that nape, because if we go out a little bit too far, we're gonna get that drag, we're gonna get that bubble that we end up having to put a pin in. It's not that cute. So again, making sure we are down at that nape. If you need to braid a couple more rounds just so you have a little leverage, I would definitely do that.
That's a really good point, because one of the things that people care most about is that drag, right?
Yeah.
They never want to see that. So it's really important to make sure the positioning, your hand positioning, the head position of your mannequin that showing the stylist on is all sort of like on par. Because some people are really good at it and some people have a hard time. I'm one of the people that has a hard
A little trick for it too is a lot of times we think we should have our clients look forward, but then when they come up, we have that drag. Same thing goes for our tight ponytails. Anytime we want it tight and snatched at the nape, we want them to actually tilt their head backwards. Then we can get our hands in closer, and then when they pull their neck up, they get a little neck lift, and they're gonna love it even more.
So I started blousing the braid. Although this section is not finished yet, I want to blouse the braid first. That way when I start my rope braid at the bottom, you're actually not pulling the rope braid out, right? You want to do that first. So blouse it out. Now we're going to kind of mess it up and make it look big and fun.
Can I interest you in some molding cream?
Oh,
Yeah?
I would love some, thank you.
Very well.
What other products do you guys like to use when blousing out? Texture spray. Yeah. Texture clay. Very cool. Sometimes I'll use hydrating styling cream, especially if I'm doing less of a textured look and I want something a little bit sleeker. I'll use that to help bring out the definition. Okay. Once we get that to where we want it, we could always kind of pull it out a little bit later, a little bit more, get more definition and refine it. We're gonna move on to our rope braid. So y'all remember how to do a rope braid? We twist to the right, cross over left, twist to the right, cross over. We keep going down, twist, cross over, twist, cross over, twist.
Now do the twist while you do it. That's talent. That's multitasking at its finest.
And I think it's important too when you say that to remind people why you're doing it. Like, because if a lot of times we have people here at the academy and they're like, oh, well, this is how I do it. And then they secure it, they go,
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
unravels.
That's why we say that,
Perfect.
repeat it over and over again, just so you get that to stay.
Yeah.
Locks it in.
Yeah.
Sometimes
It
I'll
always
even
loosens, but
I'll even show them like what it looks like when they're doing it the wrong way before they even go back, because then they have a visual and they know once they do it, they're like, oh, this is the wrong way.
Yeah.
Gives them a little heads up to that.
It also helps when we get to this point. We're gonna now blouse that rope braid. With rope braiding, with blousing a rope braid, start from the bottom, again with tension. Don't go too tight with the tension or it's gonna be very difficult to pull that out and blouse it out. Sometimes those ends are the worst. So hold that elastic and start blousing. If it starts to get skinny throughout here, don't worry too much about that because when we wrap this up, it's gonna hide it. And you won't get as much expansion from that area.
Does anybody else have a hard time loosening their tension when they braid?
I just have a question. Would you recommend ever like ruching it up a little bit, or do you want to keep this a little more polished?
A little bit more polished. So you could absolutely do that. It all depends on your preference, but in order to keep that twisted look and a little bit more polished, a little bit more structured, then I would only blouse out the yap. But if you wanted something very quick and easy, you could easily just ruche that right up and pin it in. Yep. This is where you guys can make it your own within your class. If you want to show them a different technique, but still kind of work within the same look, go for it. Put your personality into it. Very similar to what Kevin said earlier, that's key.
Also adapting it to the features of the client, not everybody.
Yeah,
It's not going to be elongated anymore, or, you know.
yeah.
Make it wider.
Yeah. But I could see a lot
Thank you,
of
Shelby.
brides also getting married or something like that.
For sure.
All right, so we're gonna blouse all 5 of these sections.
Would you like to release them to braid and then?
Yes. I would absolutely love this. So what I'm gonna do is have you all go back to your mannequin heads with your partners, section out the 5 zigzag sections, and start your French braids. The way I want you guys to work as in pairs,
Hold a sec,
okay?
wait a sec.
Hold on. What I want you to do is one person do one half, the other person does the other half. You can flip-flop and do them one at a time. One will assist, one will braid, or you could do them at the same time. I don't recommend that. You might bump into each other. We have 4.5 rows of stations, as you know. Our zone coaches, I'm gonna take the first row. Shelby will have the second row. Rochelle will have the third row, and Stefan will lead the back, the last 2 rows.
So really quickly, before you guys take off, quick recap. Make sure when you're doing your zigzag sections that you check for balance, okay? Don't just go all willy-nilly on the zigzagging. Make sure everything matches up so that your look is even. Sound good?
Hi, so while they're off doing the look, I'm gonna show you all how to actually finish the style. So now that we've had all of our braids bloused out and our rope braids finished, oops, don't wanna fall off the stage here. The ropes have been bloused out. Now I'm gonna arrange them. So what I'll do is I'm gonna start in the middle. I'm gonna start to wrap it into place. While I'm wrapping it, I'm then going to take my pins and pin them. This is a great time for you to actually check your balance and see what's gonna work. I love to start in that middle because you could get a really full look. With all of this texture and that prep, this little tail, see that here? I'm just gonna tuck that in. But with all of that prep, with the global crimping as well as all the braids and the blousing out, what that does is really sets the stage for a very beautiful expanded style. And now we're gonna incorporate the rest. So I'm gonna loop this one up through here and tuck it in. You can start to see that shape build, right? Again, with our pin, I'm gonna take it, put it straight in against the scalp, and then push. As you're going, a great little tip or design tip to do is you could actually blouse while you're pinning. So straight in with that bobby pin and push it flat to the scalp. And all of those little ends that we end up leaving, we just take the pin and tuck them in. Okay. You can see how simple and behind the chair friendly this look can be. Tuck, hold it. This is where you start to multitask, right? When you're at a wedding, you need to do 3 things at once. And now we have our 2 on the outside, right? So now we're going to just wrap those around, tuck those centers or those ends in to the center. Take your pin, put it straight in again, and then flat to the scalp. Last pin on the other side, straight through, and then pin it in. This is when you go through, and if you wanted to blouse out any more, to fill in any of the gaps, you can, while hiding any of those additional elastics and pins. times. A little trick. I like to use my hairpin for these. Bending one side of them, lifting through the bun, and then pushing it in. And that will secure it really nicely. Finish off with a little dry texture spray. Blouse out where you need it for additional texture. And then we finish with Luminous Hairspray Strong from Moroccanoil. And that right there is our zigzag braid from our Knots and Braids class. I'm gonna go help the attendees at our academy finish their looks, but thank you for joining us at Modern Salon. So,